Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. And this is not a particular, it doesn't have to do with a particular series we've been going on. This is more me explaining to you all why you've been seeing a whole lot of silence and not a whole lot of videos out of me, in spite of, over about 5 to 6 years of steady videos. It's because I'm up to my eyeballs in local Missouri State GOP absolute batshit insanity. So, we're going to go over that a little bit here. Now, this is from Kansas City, but it does pretty much impact all of us. And yeah, it was back in February, but folks, we're still fighting this. Still. Missouri families fear Medicaid disability cuts as Kehoe faces pressure to reconsider. Now, those of us who have been in on this have been from ARC, Even Autism Speaks. Remember, desperation makes for extremely weird bedfellows. Believe me on that one. Burl out here, of course, who have their folks up and going against this insanity, as well as Nova, Easter Seals, People First, you name it at this point, right? Anybody that has fought for disability rights in this state, we have cobbled together quite a coalition. Unlike some coalitions, we tend to stick with ours until the goal is reached, in which case we would then talk together about other issues facing us, like the national, and don't even get me started on Stephen Miller. But anyways, some Missouri families are sounding the alarm over proposed Medicaid disability service cuts from Governor Mike Kehoe, fearing the changes could strip away critical support for some of the state's most vulnerable residents. Even some lawmakers within the governor's own party are raising red flags due to concerns about what the potential impacts could mean for communities already facing significant barriers. They're urging the governor to find another solution. Because, folks, when you cut into services like Medicaid, it's not a scalpel. It's a chainsaw. There's no way to just go in there and try to nitpick and say, well, this person can have this person can. It's not how Medicaid works. Right? Think of it as kind of a general fund. And that funding supports things such as services like art. We're not just talking community integration here, folks, or the social programs. We're also speaking about direct care staff. We're talking about nursing staff. We're talking about available staff hours for individuals with disabilities that need just about 24/7 care. You are ripping out all of that funding. That means limited staffing hours. You are talking about less people being able to get in to any of these programs in the first place, because all of that funding comes through Medicaid, and every time Medicaid is significantly cut into this state, it reevaluates and prioritizes some over others in regards to who's allowed to receive that funding for these programs, for their direct care staff, for their nursing folks. You get what I'm saying here, right? This is not just people saying, well, we don't think you should be having all this extra to go on trips with art. That's not even the majority of what the hell Medicaid is spent on. Usually, those are things set to the side. By the way, don't forget some of these organizations are also non-for-profits. So things like, for example, Camp Barnabas are being paid for by donations, not tax dollars. Let me say that again for people in the back. ARC is a non-for-profit. It receives donations from the public. Anything extra that they do, the ARC proms, for example, where people go to dance, or if there's a trip that has to do with advocating for a particular bill, for example, that's where that comes from. It's not coming out of Medicaid, you morons. I'm sorry. This is me yelling, not at you guys, but at my own state government. I promise. But let me go ahead and continue here. For 24-year-old Peter Whitaker, those proposed cuts feel personal. Peter, who has Down syndrome, shares an unshakable bond with Zach Craddock, his best friend, movie partner, and daily support system. Also known as direct care staff people, who assist a lot of our, whether developmentally disabled or physically disabled. They act as a support system for those of us who need that extra to live our best interdependent lives. I say interdependent because no matter how much we want to thump our chests and say I'm independent, we're not. We're an interdependent species, whether I like it or not. Let me continue. Simply put, Craddock gives him an entirely new outlook on life. I love it. I look forward to it, Craddock said. Every time Peter and I hang out, it's a new adventure. We always have stories to tell. The two spend hours together every single week through Missouri's self-directed supports program, which allows individuals with disabilities to choose and direct their own caregivers. This has been absolutely instrumental in helping a whole lot of folks who would usually fall through the cracks, by the way. Can't get into the Missouri Department of Mental Health Division of DD. Can't get into those programs. But what you can do is go to a Center for Independent Living and look into the Self-Directed Supports program, which then allows you a certain amount per month, in which case you are able to hire your own family members, friends, neighbors, things of that nature to help provide that care, as long as it's not, dealing with something that needs medical professionalism. You get what I'm saying, right? And they're community-based programs, so those who cannot get in the door through the state, through the normal methods, a lot of them use the self-directed supports program. The proposal includes more than $80 million in cuts, including $17 million from self-directed supports, the very program that allows Craddock to work with Peter. These proposed cuts, it directly impacts people, and it's the people who are the most marginalized. It's the people who already have these barriers that sit before them, and now we're going to add a monetary barrier. It makes no sense to me. There has to be a better way. The government doesn't care about us disabled folk. They only dust us off and drag us out whenever they want to use us for a campaign, and when that's done and over and they've given us their lip service, they put us back and do literally the bare minimum, and after that, nothing. They only ever take from us. They never give. I must say that again. They always take. They never give. They do a cut. You think that money goes back the next regime? No. We're stuck in Missouri GOP hellscape. The only time we see changes is when it's additional cuts. We never see that money come back. Okay? They just keep cutting deeper and deeper and deeper. Let me go ahead and continue here. Peter's mother, Debbie Whitaker, said without this care, she doesn't know what would happen to her son. But her concern extends beyond her own family to the many others who rely on these services every day, particularly those enrolled in the program. And not just them, but people who are getting that payment through Medicaid as well. Things like Burl, it covers Burl, covers ARC, Easter Seals, Nova. Yeah. Judavine. Why are they making these cuts, she asked. I understand you've got to make cuts in a budget. You've got to balance a budget. But there's got to be other places where you can get this money. It's keeping kids like Pete in their homes. It's keeping them from going into an institution and being out of the community. It keeps them where they need to be. Well, if you listen to Stephen Miller run his mouth, he would tell you that people like me belong in an institution. In which case I would have to turn, look him dead in the eye, and be like, with all due respect, sir, if anyone belongs in such a horrid place, it's you. Just to be blunt. Just being blunt. And I won't go back on it. Come at me. I'm all out of you know what's to give. Republican State Representative Mike Staymeyer, who sits on the House Budget Committee, said he believes the governor will take another look. He better. Or I'm going to continue to haunt every single little bit of his social media. And not just me, but I'm rallying friends. I understand their concerns, and there is legitimacy there, Steinmeier said. He said he understands families' concerns and remains hopeful the proposed funding cuts won't move forward as written. So far, we've gotten jack and squat. I think the governor will revisit. That's part of the checks and balances, the state representative said. The Whitakers are asking the governor to make cuts elsewhere in the budget. Please find the money. If you have to make cuts, please find it somewhere else. Don't take it from these individuals. Tell them to stop, Peter added. They don't care that we're vulnerable, folks. That's the whole point. They don't want us here at all. They want to go back to the 1950s where we are shut up, silenced, and put behind institution doors where they don't have to deal with us. That is what they want. That's what they want. And it will be a cold day in hell before I allow that to happen and say nothing. It'll be a cold day in hell before I get off my local GOP's ass until they understand how much of the voting bloc people like me and our families make up. Because that's the only thing they listen to. That and Benjamins. I've been doing this a long time, folks. I know a lot of these players in this state personally. It's the only thing that has ever worked. Ever worked. Fox 4 reached out to the governor's office for comment but has not heard back. None of us have. We are now 4 months away from when all that took place, and we've heard bupkis. Bupkis! However, in a statement to our sister station, KOLR, which is Springfield out here, by the way, folks, Governor Kehoe's office said his budget recommendation reduces more than $600 million from the general revenue budget, beginning to address the projected $2 billion shortfall. His office said the reductions prioritize fiscal discipline while continuing to meet mandatory and high-priority obligations. That's political speak for saying, I don't care. I'm cutting the money anyway. Suffer. The proposal marks just the beginning of the legislative budget process. As it unfolds, Fox 4 will continue to follow the story and bring you the latest developments. So folks, that's why you've not seen a whole lot of me. Because this is what we've been working on out here. It has been every hand on deck that we can find. Every hand on deck we can find. These cuts will absolutely gut the entirety of the service system in ways that not even the freaking 2012 cuts did. And believe me, it wasn't pretty. So, I want to take this moment to apologize. I know I've been falling back. But politically speaking, out here in this state, every day has been a brand new horror show. I will try to start managing my time better. I hate to say this horrible blasphemy, maybe read a little less. I will try to get back to doing the regular shows as much as possible, but right now I just wanted to get you guys updated in what was going on. Why the last few months I've been kind of on and off and not as consistent as I have been. I apologize, and this is what's been going on. I will, of course, try to keep you guys informed. Try to do a little bit better about knocking some time out to get these videos done. Probably going to have to start cutting them in half and not making them near as long, but we'll see. But now, folks, I do appreciate your time. As always, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye now.